Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Horror Analysis with me, Drew. Hi, how's it going? Oh boy, today's going to be very large one. I don't know if it'll be a long video, but it will certainly cover a lot of ground. And I mean literally ground. We have been over we're talking about horror anthropology still. Horror in or by different cultures. We've gone over the dark green, which would be the East Asian, the blue section, which would be the Southeast Asian, and the orange section, which would be the South Asian. Now we're on to the green section, which would be the Middle East. But we're not only going to do that, we're also going to swing by the purple in this map, which would be Central Asia, and we're going to top it off by going through the Eastern Europe too. So it's essentially, with the exception of Africa and like Italy, anything east of Italy, and like Finland and the Nordic countries up here, we're going to take care of today. Skipping over Australia and New Zealand, because you know what? I'm still counting them as they're still in the Western European canon. I was going to check out some New Zealand things that might be more, I don't know, maybe Maori influenced or something along those lines. Maori? Is that the native New Zealanders? I'm not sure. Hold on a second. You stay there. Alright. I'm going to lose that if I don't keep it there. I have tea. This series has gone so long, I've gone through the entire summer, and now I'm back into where the weather's cold again and I can drink hot beverages. Started in March and now it's over a week into October. I want to get this done by Halloween. I don't know if I will. I keep adding more videos onto it. It's going to be like 60 videos by the time I'm done. This is video number 43, I think. Maybe less than 60, hopefully. We'll see. I'm not doing anything besides it, but anyway. So, we have a huge swath of land to cover. Taking care of the rest of the Eastern world. Eastern Europe, Central Asia, the Middle East. I wish I could have like a line of longitude and just say, hey, everything from there over. But I don't keep that sort of stuff in my head. Pardon me. Right. Well, let's do the easy one first. Let's do Central Asia. Central Asia is... Get my list out. Central Asia: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia. How many horror movies come from them? 0. How many horror stories could I find from that area? 0. I'm sure there's some folklore or something that I'm missing, but I can't find it. Frustrating. So Central Asia is a wash. Hey, that section's done. Purple's out of the way. So, let's, I guess, move on to the Middle East. Middle East, I can give you a list on here. Bahrain, Egypt, this is alphabetical because it was alphabetical on Wikipedia. Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Palestine, Qatar. I don't know if that's pronounced right. Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, UAE, that's United Arab Emirates, that little blue one, and Yemen. Not much in horror in this section either. The only horror is in this area, this Mediterranean section of the Middle East. Turkey, Lebanon, and Israel are the only three countries that really have any horror movies. Once again, folklore and horror stories. We did do Arabian Nights. We talked about Arabian Nights being translated into English in the something year. Oh, I don't have my history notes anymore. That's long gone. But a ways back. So there is stuff that's quasi-horror or lead up to horror, but there hasn't been anything recently. Not that it needs to be recent. There's not anything that's jumping out at me as horror story from the Middle East. Just as there's nothing really jumping out at me as horror story from the Central Asia. The ones that we have, let's go. Israel. There's two horror movies from Israel, and they're both non-supernatural thrillers, with varying degrees of creepiness, which is what I consider we need it necessary for a horror. This is Wikipedia. I have to search through to find this stuff. Big Bad Wolves was a thriller. It was non-supernatural. Rabies was the other one. Kelavet is how it was released in Hebrew, which was, guys go into the woods, serial killers in the woods. Guys have to fight serial killers. Cops get killed by serial killer. Most of the people get killed by serial killer, and maybe one survives. Maybe none survive. I haven't seen the movie. I did watch the preview. The preview is pretty creepy. Sort of funny gamesy. It was weird. A lot of blood running down the mouth and from the nose and down the chest. Creepy. Let's see. Oh, Lebanon had one short film called The Shower, where a shower takes on a life of its own and attacks the guy taking a shower. Attacks the bather. 1999. The French title was La Douche. And that's just unfortunate because that's douche in America. But I admit to having an immature chuckle about that one. But, shower that comes to life and attacks the guy taking a shower, that could be completely cheesy or it could be completely frightening, depending on how well it's done. I only found still of it, the actual cover, not any clips of it, but it's a short film, so I'm not sure how many clips they can really have. Then there's Turkey. Turkey has quite a few. And they all seem to be in sort of the same mold. See, the point of this, the horror anthropology, trying to get a flavor for each section. What is the flavor of Turkish horror? Well, there's a lot of satanic possession stuff. There's ghosts, but haunted things, haunted email. There's a ghost in the email story that there's sort of one. There's a ghost in the email story in America not too long ago, and I guess this one came out sort of the same time. A little bit before, a little bit after, it really doesn't matter. And that was called Dabe. It's D-A-B-B-E, but it's D and then the @ symbol for the A. Get it? Because it's a email. It's a ghost in email movie. It's been done in the 90s. I'm not sure what year this one was. There are a couple in here that looked really good. There was one in here that looked completely awful, called Buyu, the Spell, translates. I again apologize if I'm pronouncing these wrong. It's a haunted place that archaeologists go to, and bad stuff happens to them. It was ranked, according to Wikipedia, it was ranked number 53 in IMDb's bottom 100 movies. So it's almost in the top 50 bad movies. There was a rape by someone who's not there. A lady was raped by a ghost. And that was apparently a very popular clip on YouTube. So I actually watched it, and it was kind of weird. There's Semum, S-E-M-U-M, demonic possession movie, which seemed pretty run-of-the-mill demonic possession. There was Musalot, which is called Haunted, which is sort of demonic child, demonic invasion, stuff like that. And there was a Musalot 2 as well. That one looked cool. I recommend you go check out the preview for that, because that looked pretty kicking. There's, oh god, Kusuk Kiamet, The Little Apocalypse, which was some sort of psychological weirdness. There's Jen, which was a haunted / people keep dying in a hospital and weird things keep happening in a hospital, but the hospital's blocked off by bad weather, so no one can escape the hospital. Well, this one seemed cool. I'm not sure if this was based on an American movie, or an American movie should be based on this, because it seemed pretty cool. Again, pronunciation. Ses, S-E-S. Translates to The Voice, or it's titled The Voice in English. A lady starts hearing an omniscient voice, a voice that tells her things that no one else knows. And people start thinking that has the voice of the divine, of someone, of God in her head. She's hearing the voice of God because she's hearing all these things that are, undercover, or truths that are hidden. And then the voice starts changing and telling her not so divine things, evilly type things, telling her that, saying that, well, maybe the voice isn't God, but the other fellow. It seemed pretty cool. I don't think I saw the preview for that, but I did see the poster and read the Wikipedia article on it, and it seemed pretty cool. 1974's Satan, S-E-Y-T-A-N. It's essentially a copy of The Exorcist. The girl starts playing with a Ouija board, so she gets infected with Satan and gets possessed, and then becomes the movie The Exorcist. And Dracula Istanbul Day? Dracula in Istanbul. 1953, the oldest one from Turkey. I don't know if I like this tea. Yeah, it's alright. 1953, it's essentially Dracula. Surprise, surprise. That takes place in Istanbul. Dracula, of course. Let's see if we can find it here. Turkey's there. You can see in the top corner there's Romania. Dracula, of course, was Transylvanian and fought the Turks. Fought the Ottoman Empire. Was it the Ottomans, or were the Ottomans at that time, or were they just Turks? History eludes me. Anyway, so there's history between Turkey and Dracula. Isn't wasn't there a Dracula scene in Turkey in the Van Helsing movie? Or is that Prague? I think it might have been Prague. It matters not really. So Dracula in Istanbul, 1953. Yeah, nothing. These other countries barely have a film industry. They do. Some of them, quite a bit of a film industry, but they don't really have no horror movies as of yet. But that's okay. Even in Eastern Europe, which is our next section we're going to be going to, there's not a lot. Cyprus is on this map as well. It doesn't have anything. I wasn't able to find anything, but it's not on the other map. So Greece is, but Cyprus isn't because it's a little bit further down. So Eastern Europe. I should just read out the list, huh? This isn't in alphabetical order. Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, the Kaliningrad Oblast, which is that weird purple thing, above Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, and then the Balkan area, which would be Albania, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Greece, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Cyprus, and Malta. Was Malta on this list? On this one? Where is Malta? Malta's someplace in there, but not on the map. It's in the Mediterranean. There's no movies from Malta either, so it's a moot point, really. There's some. This is some interesting. This is a really interesting area. All right, so I'm doing horror anthropology. I'm doing it badly. I'm not doing it badly on purpose. I'm just not trained, and I tend to oversimplify at the best of times. Now, I'm not trying to oversimplify to be stereotypical, to boil these people down to stereotypes, but I tend to catch myself doing it. So, some of these, they keep striking me as the ones that are really twisted. The horror movies that seem really, really creepy or really, really twisted are like from countries that you think the gangsters would be really, really twisted from. Or the guys with guns, the bad guys from these places are really, really creepy bad guys. They'll fuck you up. And that's pretty much how these places go. There's so many Russian movies that are really, really just messed up. There's Serbian movies that are just messed up. Hungarian, Croatian, Czech. Poland wasn't much. Poland had one horror movie that I was able to find called Haunted Poland, which is essentially Paranormal Activity ripped off and made into Polish. It was one of those. It's called the found footage genre apparently now. Just finish that off. That's ginger lemon tea. I don't know if I like it. I just bought the box today, so I'll drink it throughout the winter. Why not? Poland, Haunted Poland, 2011. Essentially a ripoff of Paranormal Activity in Polish. Oh, so actually that's that page, isn't it? Oh no, besides Russian. Okay. Um, where should I start? I wasn't able to find anything in Romania. I have a Romanian coworker that I was asking, but I actually haven't heard back from her. Um, maybe her husband know a Romanian one, and if they tell me a couple of Romanian things, I can check them out. I'll come back and say, hey, back up on Romania. As I said before, Romania, of course, is the birthplace of the Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Dracul, Dracula, and also was Carmilla from Transylvania? I think she was. Certainly, this area. Upir, and Nosferatu. Alright, so where am I starting exactly? Let's go west to east to west. Let's start with Russia then. There wasn't a lot of horror films in the Soviet era. One, actually. 1967's V. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm probably not, but I can't really say that every time. VIY. 1967. Based on a Nikolai Gogol short story. Was the first Soviet horror movie. It was remade, actually, this year, 2013. Into, I think it was Lionsgate remade it, or is distributing it, overdubbing it in English. Essentially the same story, which was a priest or someone has to stay in the chalk outline at a funeral of a witch, and of course the witch comes back to life and summons demons and stuff like that. If he leaves the outline, or the witch can break into the chalk outline, the guy's gone. So he has to stay there and be tempted by horrors. What else in Russia? Oh, before I forget, so I'm just going to go back to this page. Sergei Lukyanko, the Night Watch series, Night Watch, Day Watch, Final Watch, Twilight Watch, New Watch. Not in that order. Oh, did I took that picture. Hold on, where'd it go? There it is. That's from the movie version. It's sci-fi is what it's called, but that is creepy as hell. That's such a great fusion of little doll and spider. And that was in the preview that I saw originally. I don't think it's in the preview that's on now that I've watched today, but spider legs and a little doll. Creepy stuff.
It's sci-fi. I haven't read the books or watched the movie, but the books are extremely popular and well respected. Definitely more on the sci-fi side. Fantasy, urban fantasy, I guess. Dark urban fantasy. But there's some flashy, creepy bits besides that I saw in the preview. For Night Watch, anyway. Day Watch is daylight, so maybe it's less creepy stuff. Who knows? Well, people saw the movie, I guess. Or read the books. But anyway, that's the more modern-ish era. Besides that, let me go over a couple of these other ones. Let's go over the other supernatural one, which would be Dead Daughters. It's sort of The Ring meets the Candyman. Let's see. There's a guy who tells a story to someone about three sisters who died, were killed by their mother, who was religious zealot or something like that. And once you hear the story, you have 3 days to not be bad. If you are bad in the 3 days, you die in a horrible way by the three sisters' curse. And if you're good, I guess you're out of the loop, or you're fine. But of course, it's a horror movie, so everybody who tells a story, if they hear it, they have 3 days to not be bad. And of course, one of the girls tries to investigate the backstory of the nose itching backstory of the sisters. So she finds him out and stuff like that, a la The Ring. And then the Candyman, once the sisters are called by telling the story, that's how you have 3 days. So sort of Ring meets Candyman. That's called Dead Daughters. The other one that's sort of supernatural, or almost supernatural, would be, how am I going to pronounce this? English translation's The Trackman. The Russian, I'll try not to do an awful Russian accent with this, Putvoy Obdkolchik. My apologies, my Russian accent is awful, I'm sure. And probably too stereotypical. Anyway, a quasi-human killer giant in the subway, and he's attacking a bunch of bank robbers and their human shields that they took as hostage. They escaped into the subway, and then they're running along the tracks, and the Trackman, the giant cannibal guy, is after them and killing them. The other ones are non-supernatural, but that doesn't mean they're not creepy as hell. Green Elephant, which is an odd name for a movie, which is sort of this gory, sadistic prison movie. Sort of torture porn era type. Where it's two guys locked in the cell, and one's insane and one's not, and the prison guards are really, really sadistic, and it's just more and more stuff. Yeah, claustrophobic and torture porny. Mute Witness, which is a quasi-British Russian collaboration. A snuff movie ring trying to track a witness who witnessed, obviously, the snuff part of their stuff movie. It was Alec Guinness's last movie role, so Obi-Wan's last movie role. And he's the leader of the gang. Let's see. And then there's was one of the most top 5 most disturbing films by somebody or other was called Philosophy of a Knife. It's a recreation or dramatization of what happened in Unit 731, and I had to do research on Unit 731. It's the evil science doctor guys who did human experimentations in World War II, the Japanese experimenting on the Chinese and the Russians. So Japanese creating like the plague and giving it to people, and anthrax and whatever, and then like doing autopsies on them while they're still alive. Very graphic stuff. The preview, actually, I think both. It's a two-parter movie, and it's really long. Quasi-documentary, because I think they actually do documentary footage of it as well, mixed in with the recreation stuff. So disturbing. It's in two parts. I think the whole movie's on YouTube. I actually don't think I could handle it. I watched the preview for it, and that was enough for me. Just because, like, holy crap. It's not, it's horrific, but it's not horror for me. It's like really emotional stuff, because it really happened. Maybe I just need that level of detachment of when a horror movie doesn't happen. It's fake, it's not real. This shit was real. Holy fuck. You know what I mean? Anyway, Russia. Disturbing shit in Russia. What else do we have? Where should we go from here? So east to west. I guess Serbia would be next, or Hungary. All right, Hungary. Hungary had one called Taxidermia, a very dark comedy horror movie about a couple of people who self-taxidermy. They like set up for their arms to be chopped off and their head to be chopped off while they're being preserved. It's called body horror is the subgenre, and it's pretty twisted. I'm like, some of these guys like, what the what's going on with these countries? But the flavor of this Eastern European stuff is like, holy crap. Again, not supernatural. It's just maybe impossible, but not seemingly not supernatural. Yeah, so this guy's self-taxiderming. Very weird shit. Where was I? That was the only thing I could find from Hungary. Slovakia? No, Serbia. Serbia's right underneath Hungary. There was two from this. They both have to do with snuff films. And they both have to do with porn as well. Let me actually make sure on this one because I forget what it was. A Serbian film is one of them. A Serbian horror film. What's the plot? A semi-retired porn star is down on his luck, and he's convinced to do to rape kids and rape, kill, it's necrophilia, child sexual abuse, and rape. So I can only assume it's raping kids, killing kids, and still raping them afterwards. Fucked up shit, of course. Again, not supernatural, just really twisted stuff. Creepy, of course, as well. And this one's I love these things on Wikipedia that tell you where the film has been banned. So the film's been banned in Spain, Portugal, France, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore, rejected in Norway, cut for a record of 19 minutes in the United States, and temporarily banned from screening in Brazil. And they haven't decided whether or not they're going to show it or not. This was in 2010, so 3 years later, they're still not sure whether they'll show it in Brazil. Um, the Serbian state investigated the film for crimes against sexual morals and crimes related to protection of minors. So they don't pull any punches. Um, oh fuck! This is it's just weird stuff. Um, weird stuff. Anyway, and the other one was um, the life and death of a porno gang. So again, porn and snuff in Serbia going hand in hand. Let's see what I didn't have the plot stuff on this one already. A Serbian horror film following a group of traveling sex show performers and pornographic filmmakers who are lured into making snuff films. This is 2009, so a year before a Serbian film. Um, um, yeah. What does it say on? Uh, do, 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 do. Weird stuff. Sorry, there's other stuff going on as well. Um, I was looking at the thing on the version on IMDb, and of course, there's a bunch of weird previews playing in the background, like for The Purge and the new Chucky movie. So I got distracted. Sorry, my bad. Um, so Serbia, what the hell's going on in Serbia? What's in the water? Um, where's my map? Map. Okay, let's go down to Greece. There's 5 movies on the Wikipedia list of Greek horror movies. Pardon me. One of them was a sci-fi comedy, one was a drama, one was an English language film that just happened to be filmed in Greece, starring James Earl Jones, so I don't really think that counts. As I said before, in the Wikipedia articles, Wikipedia lists, sometimes it's just where they're filmed. If it's cheaper to film in a place, the film could supposedly take place in Scotland, but it's filmed in Luxembourg. It's on the Luxembourg list. So, yeah. The 2 that I did find were 2 Greek zombie movies. The first 2 Greek zombie movies, called Evil and Evil the sequel, In the Time of Heroes. 2 zombie movies. Oh, let's see if I can find it. Evil Greek. 2005, and the sequel was a couple years later. 3 construction workers discover an abandoned cave and are promptly attacked by a creature not shown on screen. Afterwards, the population of the city of Athens is turned into zombies, while the last remaining group of people attempt to survive. Zombie survival. Did I have the picture on it? Yeah. So, excuse me. Pardon me. Tickle in my throat. Let's see. So, Greece had that little bit of 2 zombie movies to its name as well. Probably some more, but I wasn't able to find anything. The other section was the Czech. Now, this is getting into Central Europe, I suppose, but, Czech and Croat there is one Croat movie, so I'll do the Croat movie first. Nausicaa, which was based on The Spider, which is by Ewers, and we talked about Ewers a little bit ago. Late 1800s, early 1900s. He wrote Allruine, German guy. Lovecraft talked about him a lot. Talked about him in supernatural horror and literature. He did a couple of things. Allruine, what was it? Which was the tree. The tree and the woman mating and making a monster sort of thing. But he did a story about black magic called The Spider, which was made into a movie in Croatia called Nausicaa in 1994. So it's a black magic movie. I don't really know much about it, because that's very limited information that I was given. I got one sentence on the screen here. And then finally, there's the Czech Republic. There was quite a bit in the Czech Republic, mostly because there's this guy called Jan Svankmajer. I'm probably pronouncing that way wrong. Jan, Svankmajer. Jan Svank. Magjer. Can I just take a picture of him? Yeah, I can. Cool. There we go. I'll just do that. Can I do that? Him. Jan Svankmajer. Yeah. He's the big stop motion horror guy, sort of that creepy part stop motion animation, part live action. That's really his. He's really into that sort of stuff. he influenced people like Terry Gilliam, um, the Brothers Quay, those Tool music videos that freaked me out when I was a kid, like Sober and Enema and Stinkfist as well. If you're a Tool fan, you know what I'm talking about. Those weird, creepy stop motion animation. He did a bunch of stuff that was based on different horror stories. Little Otik, which was a year 2000, also called Otisonic. I guess that's the Czech pronunciation. Where a couple who can't have kids finds a chunk of wood that looks sort of like a baby, except it's got little branches and stuff too. So they pretend it's a baby. Kind of weird, but just go with it. And so the woman pretends to be pregnant for 8 months or so, 9 months. And then they say, "Oh, I have a baby." And they sort of don't let anybody see it. And then the baby starts eating stuff. Like the cat. And it gets creepy and stuff from there. And then the neighbor or whatever, it attacks people. He did a version of Faust in 1994. He did, what was this called? Lunacy, which was based on Poe's book Dr. Tar, the Dr. Tar and Mr. Feather, and then the premature burial is also mixed in with there. Oh, and it was also mixed in with Marquis de Sade. That was a weird one. These previews are usually all available on YouTube too. I recommend checking him out because he's worth checking out. Just getting the flavor for these different countries is kind of cool. The Pendulum, the Pit, and Hope. Also Svankmajer, based on Poe's Pit and the Pendulum. And A Torture by Hope, and I don't remember who that is by. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm on the Wikipedia page for him. Pardon me. Auguste Villers de l'Isle. Oh, for God's sakes, French. Jean-Marie Matthias Philippe Auguste, Comte de Villers de l'Isle Adam. I'm not good with French. So it was called Auguste Villers de l'Isle Adam. Christ, it's really difficult to say. French symbolist writer who wrote a story called A Torture by Hope, which I remember sort of, but don't remember. I remember something about it, but I don't remember it. So you mix a bunch of Poe stories together with a couple of other people's stories. And you have some weird stop motion animation. What else do we have? Surviving Life is a weird comedy by the same guy. Oh, and then there's the non-Svankmajer, so let's just go through him. The earliest one would be 1969's The Cremator. Which was just this weird, bizarre horror comedy drama thing. A guy who's a cremator in a crematorium is obsessed with weird stuff, and it's just weird. but creepy. Um, Forat vampire, or Upir Zifratu. Upir is like an Eastern European term closer to vampire, Upir. Nosferatu is, of course, vampire as well. So Upir Zifratu, the Z is like a car, the cars that have the Z, the sports cars. I'm not a car guy, sorry. So it's a vampire car, race car that runs on human blood. Horror comedy. Kind of weird. From the 80s. And then there's one called Wolf's Hole, which I didn't really get a lot of info on. But apparently it's a bunch of skiers going to some ski resort. And then they meet aliens, and the aliens try to get them to kill each other. And then they have to fight the aliens or escape the aliens without killing each other. Because aliens demand a sacrifice or something like that. It seemed weird, but yeah, that's another one. So the Czech one's sort of surrealist, bizarre things, comedic but dark comedy. The Russians and the Slovakians and Serbians and the Hungarians are just twisted, trying to get as twisted and non-supernatural as possible. The Greek, I don't know what the Greek would be. I wish I could find a preview for this movie, but I haven't been able to find one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go online in a minute and just going to play one right away. But, yeah, so I get a little flavor. You get the farther eastern or the northeast European flavor. Russia, Serbia, Hungary, where it's just twisted, non-supernatural, but as twisted as you can get without being supernatural. Serbia has that sex porno stuff thrown in, snuff films. Well, Russian has a sci-fi community, so there's some dark sci-fi and some urban fantasy sci-fi that's dark, but not quite horror as well. Yeah, the Middle Eastern, Mediterranean side. There's the Turkish area who has their own thing going, and then there's Israel, Palestine who has their own thing going. Kind of difficult. Well, probably not Palestine. Lebanon. Lebanon has its own thing, and well, it's got one movie, so I can't really make a judgment of this is what Lebanese horror is like, because I don't know. There's only one choice. Same with Israel. So Turkey I can get a flavor for. Russia I can get a flavor for. And then I don't know. I guess Czech is more surreal, bizarre, stop motion-y because we have young Svankmajer. It's just a fun name to say too, Svankmajer. Svankmajer. I recommend checking out some of these previews. I was able to watch the preview for Little Odick, Lunacy, The Cremator, which was the early 60s bizarre black comedy weird one. I was able to watch the previews for both versions of V, the Russian Stay in the Chalk Circle one from the first Soviet movie, and the remake. Philosophy of a Knife, which was disturbing, and the whole thing's available. If you're into the really twisted, real but dramatized and recreated genre. The Turkish movies I was able to find quite a few previews for. The Buyu one, which was the worst, one of the worst ones. Musalat, which I might check out that movie. It actually looks really good. Ses I couldn't find the preview for. Evil I couldn't find the preview for in Greek. Yeah, I think that's it. If I feel like giving myself a lot more work, maybe I'll put the links for the previews or something up on there. I might do. If I feel like it, I'll give myself a bit of time to do that now. Yeah. So, next time. Oh, goodness, what is next time? I'm still going to try to find something on Africa. Africa looks like I'm not going to find much. There's got to be some folk stories. There's got to be, right? I'm not able to find it. Or maybe some films. As I said before in the last video, there's Nollywood for Nigerian Hollywood. There's other things. So there's got to be Africa. But I'm probably going to just swing through the rest of Europe. Going over the video of Horror Europa, which was a great documentary on horror in Europe. Then I'll tackle South America. I'll try to do something in New Zealand. Hopefully I'll be able to find something. But I can't make any promises because most of it's going to be the same as British because it's, comes from the British tradition, as do we in America and Canada. Then there's, Mexico and South and Central America, which might be its own section. So I'm going to go. All right, so I can do Europe. I'll fly through Europe real quick. I'll fly through South America, which I have a good handle on. I might do South America and Central America with Mexico together. We'll see. And then I might do Africa, and then I'll try to find something on. If I can find something on Oceania, I will. If I can't, I'll say I couldn't find anything besides stuff in the British tradition. Pardon me. Oh my gosh, almost an hour. But it was a huge swath of territory. Alright. So, continuing horror anthropology. I've just added another 3 videos onto my horror anthropology. Great. Okay, that's fine. I'm enjoying it. I really am. It's taking me some time, but I'm enjoying it. My name's Drew. I'll see you next time on Horror Analysis. Thanks for watching.